AKMJ Wells production.
So I just sat here and got finished getting lined up by my famous barber, Big Chris. So the question I got for you, Big Chris, how do you feel about child support?
You really gotta have like a good mind to be on that shit, man. You really gotta be honest with yourself and be like, is this man gonna be a good daddy? If he is, I don't need that shit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes women be bitter and put niggas on that shit. That's what you don't need. That's what fucks up.
That's right.
Up, man. The bitter ass women put some good niggas on that shit.
That's right.
You know but it is some niggas who need to be on that shit. They'll take care of somebody else's kid, but they take care of their own.
Right.
That I don't mind. But y'all know some good niggas on that shit that don't need to be on that shit.
That's
right.
That
bullshit.
That's right.
Real talk.
Plaid Trucking TV, state your name and where you calling from.
This Lady J from New Orleans. You heard me? What's going on?
Not much. What's going on with you? How do you feel about child support?
I feel like child support isn't fair to a certain extent. I feel like you have the good fathers out here who are doing all they can and they still have to be going through the government to be able to see their children or to support their children. So
Right.
for me, I just can't agree with that. But it's all about the reasoning for actually putting them on there. Do you really have a reason to put them on, or are you just putting them on there because you're upset or out of anger or because you're bitter?
So do you think most women do put men on child support because they're bitter, or do you think
Yes.
you do? So do you think it's really women that's out here that's really just trying to take care of their child, and it really doesn't matter whether they get child support or not? They just want their child taken care of. How do you feel about that?
I feel like there's a lot of bitter women out here. It's always behind either not being able to be with that person or just to get back at that man, or even if it was in the case of the woman, they do it out of spite because they feel like they have no other way to get to them, so they will try and do that. You really do have good fathers out here that go over and beyond despite whether they're on child support or not. But sometimes, most times, that's not good enough for women because they really feel like, okay, this is going to hurt him. This is going to affect his household. This is going to mess up with whatever woman he's with now. So this is going to anger him. So they just do things like that out of spite to get back. So I don't feel like that's cool. If that father's not taking care of that kid and you need to put them on child support because that's the only way that you feel like they'll do something, then do what you got to do. But if it's out of spite and bitterness, who is that hurting? Because they can go back and still not pay the child support, and you have some fathers who will not because the child support is so high they can't keep up with their household and pay all this money that you're expecting that you wouldn't expect from him if you guys were still together.
Right.
That's messed up.
So do you think that the child support should be based on how much the father is making, or do you think it should be a 50-50 split? Like if I, the father, have to pay $1,200 a month in child support, is it only fair that the mom shows that she's able to pay $1,200 per month too? Or because I'm out here in the state of Georgia, and out here they base child support on how much the father makes. So the mom can get child support, say $1,200 a month, and she might not even be contributing anything towards the child. You know, the child is just with her. How do you feel about that?
I feel like both parents should be having a stable job and bringing the income, because if the father has to pay all of that money, we need to reevaluate, the living condition of the child, because the mother needs to be working too. That should be 50-50 and going for both of their income to see what it is would be the payment from the father. Because if you just do $1,200 out of one home and the mother's sitting home, that's like a one-way street. That's not a two-way street. Both parents should split insurance and everything else that the child has. The whole point of going through child support should be if the father is not complying to help take care of the child. It shouldn't be out of I'm upset with him, so I'm just going to do that. And even then, it should still be a 50-50 split. It should never just be, well, it doesn't matter. I see your income. I don't care because you pay a monthly house note, car note. I don't care about none of that. I just see that your monthly income is this, so you have to pay. I don't feel like that's fair, because that's not giving that person a chance, that father a chance to live. You're just saying, oh well, this is just a case of it, and that's how it goes when you involve the government in your business to that extent, because you feel like you don't want to be grown up enough to work it out.
Right. So what about, say, if I chose to do something with my life and I chose to, go to school, get a degree, and, my income was a 7-8 figure income, but my child's mom or baby mama, she didn't go to school to do any of this stuff, or she hasn't bettered herself in life or tried to better herself in any type of way, but the courts are now telling me that I have to give her $13,000 a month for the child because I chose to do something with myself and with my life. Do you feel like that's fair?
No, it's ridiculous, because no child needs $13,000. You're actually saying, okay, well, let me fund the mother and the child, because that's what you're doing. It doesn't make any sense. And then the thing about that is that baby mamas are going to push for that. They're not going to say, oh, well, he's a good dad, so we don't need all of that. They're not going to say that. They're going to be greedy and still say, okay, well, if that hurts him, let me do that. Well, if that's going to bother him, because it still all boils down to being bitter.
Right.
So no, I don't ever agree with that, because that's still taken from the house. I don't care if you had $3, $5, $6, $7, $8 million. You still don't need $13,000 a month for a child.
Right. So what if you have some of the dads that really aren't able to do anything, or just being a sorry baby daddy? Do you think that he should be able to get away with not paying child support? Say, like, if he can donate time just to watch the child, and he don't have really any money to contribute to the child, but he got time, and he can teach the child a few things and stuff like that or whatever. Do you think that the mom should hold the child away from the father because of these situations, or do you think she should let them interact with each other and still, be around?
In my opinion with that, I've always felt like time is more valuable than money. Not saying because that child still has to be supported no matter what. I'm not saying that they should never ever try to contribute, but if you know that he down bad or he got some shit going on or whatever, but all he can do is give his time. He can help pick him up from daycare. He can do things like that to help you get through what you're going through until he can do better. Why still say, okay, well, I'm still going to put you on child support? You're still not going to get anything. He's giving time. And that's priceless, because that child is going to grow up and still remember that the father spent time. They're not going to be concerned with, oh, well, my daddy never did anything for me financially. Yeah, he might mention, or she might mention something like that when they get older. But the biggest thing is going to be like, well, my dad's always been there. He's been at every game. He wasn't able to really buy anything from me, but he's always been there. So you have to take the good with the bad. As long as you have someone supportive in your child's life. May not be financially, but I mean, time is priceless.
But you got the bitter baby moms, or the bitter ex-girlfriends or whatever, and they go, hell and high waters, trying to make that man's life as miserable as possible. Because, like I said, down here in Georgia, they'll take your license, lock you up, and all kind of stuff. You don't pay child support. You know what I'm saying? And also, you got to get legitimated, which is something that I find really, really absurd. Why should I have to get legitimated to be able to have rights to my own child, the child that I made?
And it's weird, because it's kind of like when I was going through like the child support case and everything, because my child's father is on child support. He doesn't pay child support. I don't call him and I don't push the issue, because at the end of the day, my son still has to be taken care of. But nonetheless, yes, that is something that they do over here also. They have to be legitimized. They have to be able to be proven to be your child in order for you to even get visitation. So it's crazy, because you both had this kid. You have me to acknowledge that it is mine. You want to put me on child support, but now if you want to get visitation, you want to get all of these other privileges to your child. the government says you need to have them legitimized. I feel like that's crazy.
Right.
Because who is that helping? That's not going to prove anything. That's a piece of paper.
Right. And what about this situation? I know over here too they got it to where, say if, you know, me and a girl, we dating, she wind up pregnant, and, you know, I signed the birth certificate, child gets here, we break up, she decides to put me on child support, and come to find out the child isn't mine. I'm still obligated to pay that child support because I signed the birth certificate when biologically the child is not mine. But legally, the government is telling me, hey, you still gotta pay for this child.
That's down bad. How you gonna make somebody pay for a child that's not theirs? I never feel like this. If you're gonna tell me that I need to have a child legitimized, but then if I sign a birth certificate, you still gonna say I gotta take care of a child that I'm unsure is not mine? How fair is that? That's just as easy as saying, okay, let's go ahead and do DNA testing so we can prove that and make her pay back the money. If she gonna go put the man on child support and he can prove that that's not his kid, instead of making him pay the child support, make her pay it back.
Right. So do you feel like some niggas just should be on child support?
Some of them just need to be on child support. Don't get me wrong. Let me just state this. For the mamas that get out there and take care of those babies and running behind these baby daddies that don't want to help out, don't want to do anything, not as so much as give time, you deserve to be on child support because a woman should not have to run behind you to take care of your kid. But for those daddies that's out here doing everything they can, going over and beyond, now these bitter baby mamas know better. They know they don't have to be doing this shit. They know that. But they're going to do it out of greed and out of anger and whatever else. And it's not going to solve nothing. It's not going to, you even got the baby mamas that's going to sit up here and not even tell their child that the daddy been paying child support the whole time, but going to make it seem like the daddy ain't never did nothing. That's how bitter they get.
All right, well, you know, over here what we like to do is I'll give you a split. Since it's not all one way, I'll give you a split. Give me 3 reasons why a nigga should be on child support, and give me 3 reasons why a nigga should not be on child support.
3 reasons why niggas should be on child support. Because if you can run around here buying all these expensive clothes and shoes and all of that, you can't take care of your child, your ass deserves to be on child support. If you around here taking trips, you around here putting money on other people's kids, and you know you got little Johnny or whoever sitting around here needing help, the baby mama needing help with little Johnny, and you don't want to help, you deserve to be on child support. If you feel like this is my child, but because I didn't get them legitimized DNA test and I'm not going to take care of them, you deserve to be on child support. Now, for my daddies that's around here working hard, slaving, doing everything they can for a child, they don't deserve to be on child support. For the ones who say, I will get my child 24/7, but I can't offer you no money because I'm having a hard time, they don't deserve to be on child support.
Right.
That's fair. And for the ones that just get around here and go all out, still get put on child support and buying outside of the child support, you just need to take them off child support because they show you that they're going to do regardless. So that's crazy. But that's just my take on it.
I mean, you know how the bitter baby mamas are. They don't care. It don't matter. You can give them $13, $15, $20, $50,000 a month. They still not gonna be happy. Period. You can take very good care of the child. Also, if you giving that child that much money per month, do you feel like at some point it just get to the point to where you should say, just let the child come live with me?
I feel like that should always be an option. I feel like that in court, that should always be an open option. Because if this man has to give that much from the home, how much are you helping to support as the mother?
I mean, but you know, you got these moms out here, they want to go get their hair done, their nails done, they want to drive expensive cars and stay in apartments, and they won't be taken nowhere near what the child should be taken care of. And they'll be out here balling like they just living it up.
The courts need to make them open up a savings account for the kid to show some type of progression for as that kid get older for college or anything to show that those children are actually being supported with the money. Because we all know that the bitter ass baby mamas is not going to support these kids like they're supposed to. They're going to have every type of hairstyle, nails done, toes done, fashion clothes, everything you can think of. Jordans, because that's what they love to do, just swear by it. And the child going to be looking like who did it and why. But at the end of the day, what do they care? As long as the dad is suffering, and as long as they making sure that they call in when daddies are not paying that money, and you got some daddies out here that's really out here struggling because they have to pay so much in child support. But them little baby mamas never gonna care. It's all about a dollar.
Right.
It's all making them miserable.
Right. All right, Lady J. Well, I sure appreciate you getting on this call with me and letting me know your side of it. I know I'm gonna have a whole lot of kickback from it because, you know, they go in on me. No matter whatever it is I say, they go in on me and they say, no, it should have been this way, or no, it should have been that way. And I want to do 10 shows about it, but I can't do 10 shows about it. So I'm glad I was able to get you on the line. And
well, no problem, baby, anytime.
We will be sending you out the Flat Truckin' water bottle and the Flat Truckin' t-shirt.
Okay, thank you.
So what's the number one show you watching on YouTube?
Flat Truckin'.